To be or not to be? That is the question. In this video, we are going to be talking about whether we should use the verb ser or estar in Spanish. Both of these words mean to be. In Spanish, there are two words that mean to be. That means when we're translating sentences like I am at the store versus I am from Naples, Florida, we would use two different words. There are two different words that am can be in Spanish. Now I know what you're thinking. The question that's on everybody's mind. But why? And how can I know when to use one and not the other? Well, to answer these questions, we need to look at how and when do native speakers use these words. Let's start by looking at ser. Native speakers use ser to talk about what day it is, what kind of jobs people have, the characteristics of people, what time it is, where people are from, and they use it to describe relationships between two things or two people. These things are generally permanent. Now, I have generally there for a reason. It's not exactly 100% permanent all the time, but generally, think about it like that. On the other hand, we have estar, and native speakers use estar when they're talking about where something is positioned, where something is located. They use it when they're describing actions, when they describe conditions, and when they describe emotions. Now, in contrast, you might expect, these things are generally temporary. Again, generally. It's not an absolute 100% statement, but in general, they are temporary. So, to help you remember which one should you use in which situation, there are mnemonic devices that you can use, like doctor. When you think of ser, try to think of doctor, and it'll talk about dates, occupations, characteristics of people, what time it is, where are they from in origin, and relations between two things, doctor. On the other hand, estar correlates with the mnemonic device place, such as when you're talking about the position of something, the location of something or someone, the action that somebody's doing, the condition of the environment or the person, and the emotion that that person or dog or animal might be feeling. Just every time you're talking about emotions, it's probably going to be that. Something that helps me remember the difference between these two words, because I am not a native speaker, and you probably are not either, if you're taking Spanish. So, this is John, this scruffy, very stern fellow. John is a stern guy who doesn't laugh a lot. John is a serious guy. Now, what am I doing here? Is this a permanent description or a temporary one? In other words, is John serious all the time, or normally? Or is John serious right now because of something that's gone on in his life, or, I don't know, something that recently happened to him? What do you think? If you said we should use ser because we're talking about a characteristic, you chose the right answer, and you're going to do great on your tests. Because John is normally a serious guy, we say Juan es serio. We do not say Juan está serio. It really depends on what we're trying to say. What is the meaning? So when would estar be appropriate? Luckily, serio is a word that we can use for something that for both estar and for ser. So it's a good way for us to look at the meaning behind ser and estar. What are the meaningful differences between these two words? Now this is Maria. Maria is normally a very happy person. As you can see, she's smiling. She's very happy, normally. But yesterday, her cat ran away, and she doesn't know where he is. Today, Maria is acting very serious because that's a serious situation. We would say, Maria, ella está muy seria. This is the perfect time to use estar instead of ser. We use estar here because we're talking about the emotion that Maria is feeling, not really a characteristic of who she is. Remember, she's normally a very happy person. Try to remember this. Serio, estar versus ser, kind of dichotomy. This ser versus estar serio dichotomy helps me remember which one I should be using and when. The final thing we need to look at is how to conjugate the two verbs. Now, ser is irregular, and you'll probably learn about irregular verbs, or you've probably learned about them already. But this just means that they don't follow a regular pattern of how verbs are conjugated. Luckily, English, how we conjugate the word to be in English is also very irregular. We say things like am, is, are, were, was. If you really think about it, that's really weird. So over here we have the conjugations for ser that you need to know, because we use these pretty often. If anybody ever asks you where you're from, or if you ever want to ask somebody else where they're from, you need to know how to conjugate this word. Estar, on the other hand, is more regular. However, in this word, unlike other Spanish verbs, we need to look out for the accent marks on the A, such as in tú estás or él, ella, usted está. These accent marks are really important because there's a big difference between esta and está. That difference is esta means this, and está means is. So we really need to be sure that we're putting that accent mark on the word when we need there to be one. So just a short recap. Remember the mnemonics doctor and place. For description, occupation, characteristics, time, origin, relationship, or possession, we need to use the word ser. For position, location, action, condition, and emotion, we need to use the word estar. And a general tip for this is how you feel and where you are, that is when you use the verb estar. Also, remember the serio example, and if you're ever not sure, try to ask these questions just to yourself, maybe quietly while you're taking a test. Is this a feeling or a characteristic? Is this something permanent or temporary? Is this location where this person is from or where someone is currently? Good luck, and remember, how you feel and where you are is when you use the verb estar.